You're watching Houseparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Here we go. There's no way we're doing this whole thing because I am not comfortable with how Jimmy Dore, I think, is stealing, and I mean that very directly. He is stealing both content from other people and just putting it up and going, huh? And he's also stealing even the act of stealing, the way he does it, with the exception of that, I don't think he gets up and goes to the bathroom, leaves the camera running like Hassan does. But Hamas Abi does the same thing. Just play other people's shit and go, pfft. That's not adding content. It's stupid. Anyways, so Alex Jones is on Tucker Carlson, and Jimmy is playing a clip of that. Because Alex wasn't on Jimmy's show. And listen to this. We looked at, by the way, how Jimmy said last week, or earlier this week, whenever the fuck it was, that Alex was right about a bunch of shit. No, he was not. He was wrong about everything. Fuck off. But down here it says, dismiss Alex Jones all you want. Thank you very much. I think I will. I don't think he's important. I do. I think he's like QVC or something. It's just something I'm sure other people get a lot of joy out of. I just don't care. It's pretty easy, actually. But he accurately predicted both 9/11 and the COVID pandemic. No, he didn't. If he did, then so did fucking Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. So we might be wise to pay attention to his latest predictions. Predictions that involve elites establishing mind control over the rest of us, forcibly controlling the population, and restricting the energy supply, all in the purpose of a post-human world. Because they're lizards, I guess? Seriously, how long is it before this particular conspiracy sow's tits run dry? Fuck, this is weird. All right, here we go.
So now here's Alex Jones's newest predictions, and they are chilling.
They're chilling. You know why they're chilling? Because I think he says that.
Here we go.
Are you the only person in media who actually reads these reports?
He selectively reads certain things, and then when he gets to a part that might refute what he's thinking, he stops reading.
I don't think a lot of people do read them, but I do read them. I mean,
By the way, why not use the clip from the moment they talk about what the fucking the reports he's talking about are? Is that so fucking hard? Is it that fucking hard to go back 18 seconds? It's not like the top of this means anything unless you know exactly what reports he's talking about. This is so stupid.
Currently reading MIT reports from their top counsels, Pentagon.
He's currently reading MIT reports from their top counsels, Pentagon. Just say Pentagon at the end of top counsels.
Reports. They have a working group called the Mad Scientist Group at the Pentagon that works with MIT.
They have a working group called the Mad Scientist Group at...
Thank you. I didn't hear that part, Guy. Are you just Jimmy Dore is now going to be the acid reflux translator. For those of us that don't speak acid reflux, Jimmy's just going to use his pencil neck squirt voice to translate it from acid reflux talk to normal.
The Pentagon.
They've got they have a sense of humor about it, fuckhead. Jesus Christ. Yeah, they call it the Mad Scientist Working Group because that's how people regard the high-end edges of science. Can you believe these guys are joking about being mad and being scientists?
Oh, that's everybody's okay with that?
Yes, they're kidding. That's their wink wink nod name for it. And by the way, that's what Alex just said. That doesn't make it the primary name for it. And even if it is, it's a joke. It's clearly that. The fact that this fuckhead knows that's the name of it means it's for public consumption and it's meant to be a joke at a certain point. You understand? If Alex knows it, then it's to be known. He doesn't have an inside scoop. He's not an insider in this shit. And if he is, then he works for them. And then why do you trust him anyways? This is so fucking ridiculous.
I know Epstein was very into science and MIT and
Yeah,
the island of Dr. Moreau.
Yeah, he read those papers too. So maybe he and Alex had a reading group.
There's a mad scientist group at the Pentagon working.
No, they call it the Mad Scientist Group. They don't have a group of mad scientists. Yeah, and they refer to them as mad because it's really, you know, obviously the CIA is an offshoot of MI6 and they use the British, don't you know? Absolutely mad. Darling. Totally mad.
With MIT, by the way, where Chomsky comes from, and probably why he doesn't want to say anything about 9/11 being.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, this motherfucker, Chomsky's a bad guy because he doesn't believe 9/11 was an inside job because he was at MIT. I mean, hey, they obviously, look. These ideas finger cuffed together. Once you put them together, you can't separate them.
Not what it appears.
Oh, does he know who Chomsky is? Chat room's going, yeah. He had him on his show. He loved him until he hated him. That's the thing. Jimmy's an all or nothing. Like, and the minute you don't buy into like a centimeter of what he does, you're off the fucking team. You're the enemy. You're worse than the enemy he knows of.
Okay.
And if you go watch their hour-long, 2-hour-long, 3-hour-long meetings they have on YouTube.
You mean they have 2-hour-long, 3-hour-long meetings on YouTube in secret? You mean they're secret meetings they have on YouTube? Fuck you. So what do we know about Alex Jones right now? He never skips a dessert, and he watches a lot of YouTube. Congratulations.
With all the tops, I mean, we're talking hundreds of top scientists.
Yeah, the top scientists. The mad ones. The top mad ones. Obviously, the sane ones aren't there. You know, they bring in the top scientists, and the top scientists, all obviously, top Frankensteins. You know, not your Jonas Salk types. You know,
they admit that they're building a post-human world. That soon
it's yeah. So here's what happened. Apparently, according to Alex Jones, and Jimmy's just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. No way. So all the top scientists have a secret group called the Mad Scientist Group with the Pentagon, and they have their secret meetings live on YouTube for hours. And they just admit they're going to destroy humans. They're just waiting on a post-human world. That's it. We're sick of being humans. And by the way, you got two guys right here who are tired of being human too. Otherwise, they wouldn't take dick pills.
Everyone's going to be.
Why not just go with what your body tells you? If your body says you shouldn't have an erection anymore, it's time to stop. Nobody wants any part of it. You can't make one. So why bother?
Mind controlled. Yeah, that they're going to.
Sorry, look at this.
Building a post-human world. That soon everyone's going to be mind controlled.
By the way, soon everyone's going to be mind controlled. Anybody want to go back to like one of Alex's shows fucking 20 years ago where he says, soon everybody's going to be mind controlled? Everybody but him, of course. Anybody who goes to gets a public education, except these two assholes who went to public schools. Somehow we made it through. I don't know how they did it. I must have special genes that allow me to break through. But everybody else being turned into a fucking drone worker bee.
Yeah, that they're going to put smart dust in our food that they can.
They're going to put smart dust in our food.
That soon everyone's going to be mind controlled. Yeah, that they're going to put smart dust in our food that they can electromagnetically control. And
they can if there's a scientist that can electromagnetically control dust, I want to give that person a grant because it would save me on vacuuming. You know what I mean? You just set up a magnet in the house and all the dust just goes to that. Oh, wouldn't that be sweet? You'd never have to dust again. It put Swiffer out of business. That'd be sad, but they'd adapt. I love how Kurt just goes, yeah, when they say mind control. like someone who's been mind controlled to say yeah whenever anybody brings up the phrase mind control. These fuckers don't even know. They've mind controlled themselves. You do realize you can psyop yourself, right? Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that like the bigger organizations realize is like some of these people, we would have to fucking hook them up to electrodes and torture them and do all kinds of shit to get them, turn them into monsters. But some of these fuckers, they'll do it to themselves. They'll just program themselves. We don't even have to hold their fucking eyelids open. They'll just gack down Mountain Dew and just watch fucking YouTube videos and turn themselves into idiots. It's so easy.
But the post-human, I'm talking about, we currently are living in a pissed human world.
Oh my God, he's reading one of Kurt's jokes. Post-human? More like pissed human. Ha! Yeah. Jesus. You do realize that, like, pissed or the ability to be pissed means you're not being mind controlled, unless, of course, you're arguing that the people who are angry just to be angry are the ones that are being controlled, which is entirely possible.
But they're pissed at all the wrong things. That's the problem.
You keep reading.
The TV told them to be angry at each other, so you better do what the TV says. Santa can't actually see you when you're being naughty or nice, but most of our modern TVs can. That's a
That's a good joke, Kurt. You wrote that for this part of it. So, you know, it didn't really fly, but I read it. I need cue cards.
Think of all the people that are mad at actors for things they said, and think how cocked up your society is that you're supposed to give a shit about what an actor thought about anything.
I know.
Hey, asshole. Why are they supposed to give a shit about what you think or Jimmy thinks? You and Jimmy both say you're just like pothead comedians. You always back out of this shit whenever you're up against a wall with one of your ideas. That's the point. And again, most people care about what an actor says, not because they care about what that actor says when they get outraged, but because who they think that person has a ton of fans, and those fans are just going to take whatever they say hook, line, and sinker. That's why they're afraid of the cult effect. That's why people react to it. And in some cases, you could explain that with the fucking Taylor Swift situation. The right wing is flipping out about Taylor Swift because they believe her followers are cult followers, and that if she says vote, they're going to fucking vote, and that's what they're scared of. She's not telling who to vote for. That's even scarier.
I know.
But you would look at it like it's really important that somebody's hired or fired who's an actor. That's what people worry about. And
do they? Is that what people worry about, Kurt? People worry about that? That's most of the time. That's what we worry about in our lives. Those of us with families and children and businesses and stuff. That's what we worry about. Is that what we worry about? Is that what most people worry about?
sports.
So let's get back to more.
That in sports. Okay. And that's the old dunking on the blue collar people out there who like sports just for the fuck of it. Sports just fucking used to be religion's the opium of the masses. Now it's fucking sports. People don't give a fuck.
Of his crazy predictions or.
By the way, so far no predictions that are any different than the shit he's been saying for 2 fucking decades.
Scary predictions.
Oh, they're scary. So be prepared to be scared. I suppose you're trying to program me to be scared. Is that what's happening? Oh, well, it's not going to work.
It all out right there. And I've learned what these people said in the 50s they would do were done by the 70s.
Well, they're very efficient, I suppose. That's the thing. You know, they like say what you will about the Illuminati, but they're go-getters. No, I mean, obviously they started their plan for the Enlightenment in the 1400s, and it took a couple hundred years, you know, for the Constitution of the United States to be created. It's a little late. I think they thought it would catch on a lot earlier, but, you know, I mean, they didn't live to see it, but.
They said their plan was in the 70s for the 90s, they got done.
Yeah, and the weird thing is that they were still wearing the clothes from then. So you see all these like Illuminati people walking around, and you're like, dude, that's bell bottoms, really? Whew, okay. And they're like, oh yeah, Mr. Pointy Shoulders, Mr. Talking Head Zoot Suit. You think that's gonna? I already know what's gonna be in style next year. I'm making it happen with my post-human computer brain.
Then when they had their Agenda 21 in Rio de Janeiro in 1992, the big UN summit, they just.
Yeah, remember Agenda 21? Remember how that went? Remember the predictions about Agenda 21? Weren't we gonna have UN troops at everybody's doorstep? Fuck, I remember that. Like, God, that ate the news cycle in the right wing nut sphere for fucking months. And what came from it? Nothing.
Described everything they would do up until the year 2000, and they got almost all of that done.
Almost all of it? What was that? What'd they get done? Solar energy? What? Where's the fucking martial law? I was promised martial law by this fucking asshole. And I don't mean kind of like the Dinesh D'Souza, we kind of really do live in a police state if you sort of kind of think about it. No, fuck you. I want to see soldiers on the streets. I want a fucking Left Behind movie. You owe me this. This was supposed to happen before 2012, you asshole. Then it was supposed to happen again in 2012. What the shit?
Now they've got Agenda 2030.
Yeah, well, obviously they're behind. There's a lot of stuff on their plate, and then they got distracted or whatever, and then the new Call of Duty came out, and that's a time suck right there. And of course, everything shut down because of COVID, which you can't do. One thing the Illuminati can't do is mind control remote working from home. You got to show up at the Bohemian Grove. You got to show up at these big Eyes Wide Shut meetings. You can't Zoom that shit in. So that obviously slowed them down a little bit, of course.
And we're going to ban your gas stoves. We're going to ban
fucking gas stoves. Jesus Christ. Gas stoves. That was on Agenda 2022. Agenda Catch 22. Gas fucking stoves. That's what you're going with. Jesus Christ, man. I know you sound better than the real Alex Jones voice. Yeah, because I'm faking it. But I can't do it because I'll fuck up my singing voice. I can only do it occasionally.
Beef. We're going to ban single family.
We're going to ban beef.
Family dwellings. We're going to ban private ownership of cars.
Are you? Okay. Well, tell you what. You let me know when that bill starts working its way through Congress, and then I'll go. Then I'll listen. When do you think that starts? When we all have fucking anti-gravity hovercrafts and nobody needs a car anymore, and the only people that want one are some dude who likes the song Red Barchetta. My uncle has a country house place, yeah, that no one knows about. He says it used to be a farm before the motor laws.
We're going to do all this, and
Red Barchetta!
And now you see them rolling it all out. So I'm not really making predictions.
Yeah, they're all rolling it all out. Okay, first of all, why would they be pushing electric cars if they don't want anybody to own cars in the first fucking place? Also, they're not trying to get rid of single-family dwelling just because they're trying to build more apartments because of the different amount of expenditure people want to put into their homes. And there's been a giant. Oh God, this is so fucking lame. And let me guess. In 10 years, this dopey motherfucker will look like he'll have lost the weight because of age. He'll be gaunt. He'll look like fucking Ron Paul because he'll finally take Ozemba or whatever the fuck, some fat pill, right? He's going to take that, get all skinny or whatever, and he's going to be the doddering Pat Robertson of the fucking conspiracy theory set. He'll be going, wait, you really think, Eddie Day now, aliens will come. Get the fuck out of here. It amazes you Alex Jones is still alive? Alex Jones is younger than I am. He's 6 years younger than me?
In these high-level World Economic Forum and other
Oh my God, the World Economic Forum. Get over yourself.
large think tank groups.
These large think tank groups. Small think tanks are fine. As long as they're only doing a little bit of thinking. It's too much thinking we got to worry about.
They are laying out the future, and they're high priests of the World Economic Forum. It's a consortium of all these groups. Yuval Noah Harari, you can read his quotes. The future's not human. The human era is over.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say that he looks really sad when you freeze him right there. It looks like he's having a moment. I don't want the human era to be over. He also kind of looks like an extra in like a short-lived Walking Dead character who everybody's scared of at first, and then he convinces you he's okay, and then he tries to sexually assault somebody, and you drive him out of the house, and then he becomes a zombie, and you see him later kind of all gnarled up. That's it. He's got like 3 lines.
The public is useless.
Which is, I think, one of Alex Jones's old taglines.
I mean, this is a very anti-human system, so that's how I'm able.
Is it run by humans? These are human beings making this decision, right? I mean, if humans are making it, how can it be anti-human unless it's a suicide group, which I think is, I mean, is his argument that the World Economic Forum is just another like, I don't know, Hail Bop cult.
To
keep thinking. Yeah, look at the ceiling. Maybe there's bullshit on the ceiling. Look at him trying to go, how do I phrase this bullshit in a way that it sounds really scary, and yet I never have to prove what I'm saying.
Make predictions because they've given us a roadmap. They tell us where they want to take us. And so when the public wakes up, we push back on some of it, but they always come back. And so I'm just following the trajectory of where they say they want to take us. And
And where's that? Because what you've been following the trajectory all this time, and we haven't gone anywhere you said.
There were a lot of white papers, not just the PNAC document from 2000, a year before 9/11.
Oh my fucking God. Look, you can't sit in front of Tucker Carlson with Jimmy Dore showing you a fucking clip, just airing it in the fucking background, and cite a Republican neocon like war document as the standard for all this shit. Like, good Lord.
Where they describe we really need big terror attacks. We really need Pearl Harbor events to get Americans to give up their rights. I mean, take what just happened in Israel.
That's not what they said. That the document itself, and you can go, I read between the lines. Get the fuck out of here. Alex is not pro-trans. Alex wants to fuck Blair White. That's not the same thing. And I think even Blair White would tell you there's a difference. That's when the PNAC said, like, people aren't going to wake up until we make them realize that the threat is real, and we might have to fake something to make the threat real. Like, that's that you might need a big event. I don't even think they say they have to fake something. They just go, we might need a big event before people realize how bad these people are, and we don't want that to be too late. That's what the PNAC document was about. It doesn't mean they're planning one. It's that people are going to be generally lazy and not into this battle until it might be too late, until something huge happens. And it might not be until people won't take this threat seriously until there's like a Pearl Harbor type thing. That's what the document said. It was written by assholes. And believe me, I'm sure they wanted to kickstart this war in the Middle East, but they were doing it from a point of view of people won't want to do this unless we're attacked. Not let's fake an attack so people let us do that. And even if you're like, well, I was reading between the lines, at least fucking say that. At least quote what it actually says, and then go, but we know what they really meant was. Fuck off.
Totally tragic. My heart goes out to all that have been killed or lost loved ones or been injured.
Oh, this is the whole, like, the Israelis knew about it idea?
But there's no way that one of the best intelligence agencies in the world didn't know that was coming, the massive buildup.
Yes, it is. Because it was always coming and never coming. That's the point. There was nothing special about that date. It was not an anniversary. It wasn't like the Russians when they fucking, bombed Kiev extra hard on their fucking, any given holiday or whatever. October 7th was a date pulled out of a hat. And the government was distracted because Netanyahu was trying to take down the fucking judiciary. And a lot of the world knew that attention was there. Let's get the fuck out. Yeah, Putin's birthday or something. It was a gift to him, right? And the plan said they would hit 60 places on the wall, which the Israelis knew they weren't capable of doing, but they hit less than 6, and it was enough. It's so stupid.
5,000 missiles, the paragliding attacks, all of that. And so there was clearly a stand down there.
No, there wasn't. The whole thing about money being paid to Hamas and them being on effectively a ceasefire footing for the last few years specifically was Netanyahu was dumb enough to think he was buying the peace with the Hamas. He thought this was a transition point and this would eventually just level out over time. And when Trump gave the Golan Heights to Israel and declared Jerusalem the capital and put the embassy there, they were the Hamas leaders were like, it's fucking on. The U.S. is backing them to destroy us. They took that as a sign and they decided to plan for it.
Now the West will take more of the people's rights. Israel will.
Why? What rights? What rights are you talking about? What rights are we losing? The West?
Be able to crack down and take more of their people's rights, which is a big debate over.
Is it a big debate
there?
It's a big debate over there.
Hamas.
He's just talking out of his ass. Seriously, this is like there's going to be like there won't be another big Patriot Act, but there'll be like little mini Patriot Acts like all over the place.
This is being funded by Hezbollah, which is Iran. We just had Hamas is being funded by Hezbollah, which is Iran.
No, they aren't. Hezbollah and Hamas are being funded by Iran, but Hamas gets its funding through Qatar. It doesn't get it through Hezbollah. What the fuck are you talking about? Again, look, I don't care if people make a mistake about this, even in just talking. People, when you're talking about a bunch of shit, and by the way, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show if you can. If you can't, hang in there. Just enjoy the show. And trolls, thanks for being here. If you think either of these guys know what the fuck they're talking about, please, I don't know, take a break for 3 months and go watch a fucking baseball game or something. I don't know. Just get a hobby. Go back to college. I don't know. So if people are just prattling on in conversation, it's okay to fuck up that little detail, right? This asshole, though, is the expert that 3 people in this video are going to for knowledge about this thing. And to fuck up something so basic, when he's been doing this for 20 fucking years, Hezbollah does not finance Hamas. Iran finances both through proxies even. In their particular instance, Qatar is the proxy where it happens. The Hamas leadership are billionaires. They all live in Qatar, and the money funnels through there. It's Iranian money. It doesn't go through fucking Lebanon.
We just had Biden.
Thank you, Cynthia, for the super chat.
A month ago, gives $6 billion to Iran, and now the mullahs are
which never actually got to them.
That they were behind the attack, Hezbollah funding Hamas. So,
okay, you can misspeak once. He thinks it's twice. Hezbollah was not the proxy by which Iran got money to Hamas. It doesn't even make sense geographically, asshole.
Really, those aren't even predictions.
Yeah, he's not making predictions. By the way, for the record, Alex Jones's newest predictions are chilling. Or lack thereof, I suppose. It's
clear that Hezbollah and Hamas have tens of thousands of men and women as sleeper cells that are, quote, other than Mexican, that the Border Patrol list every month, tens of thousands coming across the Texas and Arizona and California sectors. And it's
yeah. So there are male and female Hamas and Hezbollah people that are, I don't know, other than Mexican. So anybody who's not Mexican, Guatemalan, what have you, yeah. The tens of thousands of them are crossing the border as sleeper cells for that's going to happen. You just wait. You just watch. Here they come. Nobody's even looking. Nobody even cares. And there's plenty of people in the country helping them along. Yeah, that's tens of thousands. It's going to be battles on the streets. It's their own. I mean, at a certain point, well, I suppose the World Economic Forum probably paid their boat ticket or just gave them water wings so they could swim across the fucking
An
ocean.
easy equation to predict that there's a wide probability that Hezbollah and Hamas at some point are going to attack sports stadiums. They're going to attack colleges. They're going to attack synagogues. They're going to.
I think they would go synagogues first. But that's exactly what they would expect, I suppose. Sports stadiums? Are they going to do it when there's a game on, or are they just going to go, like, you know, run up like the Knights of the Round Table in Holy Grail and just stab the fucking castle with their swords?
Shoot up mass gatherings if they're given the order by Iran, if we go to war with Iran. And then when this happens, our government won't get in trouble for dissolving the border and letting these people come in.
What? What? Why wouldn't? All right, if Iran told a bunch of fucking sleeper cells to wake up and start fighting, they're not going to win because apparently they're in Texas and everyone around them is armed to the fucking teeth. And then, so Iran says attack, and they do it. They do mass casualty events. We don't do anything about it, apparently. I guess we just stand down during that. The army, the National Guard, cops, everybody just goes, well, I guess if Iran said so, I'm blue flu, bitches, blue flu, right? And then the result of it will be dissolve the southern border and let them come in. So they're just going to, what are they going to do? Take the capital and some fucking, like, action movie bullshit, find the president's signature stamp, right? With dissolve border, haha, clank, and go, now his bill, right? Executive order, border is open, everybody in. Like, what?
Just like on 9/11, our government clearly had prior knowledge.
Sacramento, thank you so much for the super chat. World's an ugly place, but you're beautiful to me. Oh, that's very sweet. It's going to be okay. Trust me. This, again, and by the way, we are all Tucker Carlson's face right now, sadly, and I'm sorry to even say that out to you, but Jesus Christ.
That was clearly a major stand down that went on.
Also, this asshole's just playing this fucking video. He's just playing it. You just watch. We're watching Jimmy watch TV. What the ever-loving shit? I should have just done the primary clip, I guess. But then I would miss the Kurt's shitty jokes poorly read by Jimmy.
The government got more power, more control, and now they're not pointing the Homeland Security apparatus at the Russians like they did in the Cold War.
Yeah, because we're totally giving the Russians a pass right now.
Or the Islamists after 9/11. Now they
No, we're not. We're just blowing off the Islamists.
Admit that their main focus is Christian conservatives.
No, I don't think they admit that their main focus is Christian conservatives when they tell you that the biggest domestic threat is right-wingers and the biggest foreign threat is, depending on the rotating problem, merry-go-round, it's either, Russia, Iran, China, or some rogue actor, which I think is that's the pinwheel of death, that they worry about, that the CIA worries about. And then here's the interesting thing. When they bring the CIA and the NSA people in, when they talk about threats to the homeland, most of the time they're talking about the outside because that's their jurisdiction. But nobody watches that shit. Or it happens, but like the Republicans don't tend to bring those guys in to have public hearings, mainly because of what they talk about, but also because it would make a distinction between the FBI worries about what happens inside the United States and the CIA what happens outside. So these assholes can just pretend that because we hear about when the FBI is, because it's internal, we get a lot more, coverage of their oversight committee hearings and that kind of stuff. So we hear them telling us about what they deal with every day, and we don't hear about the other side of it nearly as much. That's in the news category. Or this dickhead making up shit.
And the bitter clingers and the people that live in rural America.
Yeah, just people who live. Oh my God, Gene, thank you so much for the super chat. That's very lovely. Oh, you guys are being so sweet. It's kind of like Christmas, except these people are here. When it's really Christmas, no, these people. This is the cancel Christmas team. By the way, can we just enjoy the freeze frames on Alex? It's not good. It's not good. This is good. And Jimmy is watching a TV, a monitor that's like right here, that's got that on it, which is really awkward. I mean, it's bad. I at least try to put my fucking screens in a place where I can look at them where the eye line isn't too odd. Does that make sense? Trying to make this more like reasonable, you know? But imagine if I was like, let's watch Alex Jones. Dude's a fucking millionaire. I don't know. Build out your studio a little. Spend 10 grand, you cheapskate.
Well, white people. I mean, it says that in the report.
No, it does not. No, it doesn't say white people. It does not say white people. It doesn't say white people. White people are not a category they're worried about. White supremacists might be, but again, there's very few black white supremacists. There are a couple of them, you know, all, you know, Chappelle Show sketches aside, they exist, right? They'd have to, right? Most white supremacists, which are the dangerous ones, are indeed white. You know how I know that? Because the third category that they worry about, in the top three, the third one are black supremacists. That's your, Blacks for Trump adjunct crowds with the, Black Hebrew Israelites and, Hoodoo and whatever that fucking guy was who murdered one of his cult in the house and then they hid the body from the, whatever that fuckery. They're number 3 on the list. And they're the ones that like shot 2 Jews in the Bronx. Right? That shooter in the Bronx that killed 2 Jewish people, that guy was a black Hebrew Israelite. Yeah, but the most of the black supremacists are indeed black. So it's just how it works out. And I gotta say, by volume, there are more white people than anybody else in the country. So just saying.
Are the main terror threat.
No, they're not. No white people are a terror threat just for being white. That's not what they say. White supremacists might be, but that's a very small group. As a matter of fact, by percentage of our country, there are fewer violent white supremacists than there technically are violent black supremacists, just because of that whole thing called per capita.
And so this whole apparatus of the war
of you trying to connect 2 thoughts together and make sense of I guess, thread together some sort of quilt of nuttiness from every random thread you find.
on terror, it has now been turned inwardly against the people, not just here, but also in Europe.
I thought the Europeans through the World Economic Forum were controlling us. So with it, I'm sorry, at some point, is our internalized security apparatus that is turned on us going to fight with the internalized security apparatus that's turned on them? I guess it would have to. Mr. President, we cannot have a depopulation gap.
Where if someone criticizes transgenderism in the UK, they come to their house and arrest them. It would.
No. Not how it works at all. And also, they don't have free speech rules like we do. That's one of the reasons why our Constitution is particularly special. It's why we have more rights than in Canada in that regard. Again, they just have stricter hate speech and libel rules.
Journalist does that. They come to their house and arrest them.
No, they don't.
If somebody says, I think these surveillance cameras should start getting cut down, they come to their house and they arrest them.
No, they don't. No, they literally don't. You have to do a lot more than say, I think these security cameras should come down. Like, Jesus Christ. Can you imagine what they would have done to John Lennon if he hadn't been killed by the deep state?
For their free.
Imagine there's no cameras. An asshole.
Speech. And so this is a global movement by the mega corporations, by the black
the mega
rocks.
Oh, Black Rocks, thank God. The mega corporations.
State streets and the vanguards that control 80+% of world wealth to control our behavior. And Larry
They don't control it. They're investment points for it. If they start losing money, people will move elsewhere. The money itself is controlled by the pensions that put money through that shit. If they decide that there's even a 1% difference, they will move their money from that one to that one. If you don't believe me, ask anybody who works at the Vanguard Group or at BlackRock.
Bank of BlackRock has said that at the Davos group repeatedly. We're going to use our control over all this finance and this global social credit score we're rolling out to control people's behavior. So that.
Oh, God. Why would they have to roll out a credit score system if they're just going to put magic dust in all of our food that makes us manipulative? What the fuck? Why? If there's... Why don't they just put the gay frog stuff in the water and then depopulate the world that way? They wouldn't even have to kill us. We'd have non-pregnancy related sex for the next 20 years, and then the population would be gone. Jesus Christ.
That's really what this is. And then they use.
It's really not at all. Dore's watching a Golden Girls rerun. Chat, I love you, and I want to have your babies.
Use the threat of global warming. They use the threat of a virus. They use the threat of radical Islam.
Jesus Christ. First of all, you were railing about radical Islam after 9/11. Even with the whole inside job part, you were still scared shitless. I mean, listen to this motherfucker talk about mosques for a fucking decade. Get the fuck out of here.
To take our rights, but we really are the target.
No, you're not. Because if you were the target and that was really happening, you'd be dead already. I gotta say, you look like shit. Nobody would be surprised at a heart attack. You'd have keeled over before you even got a chance to shit on the Sandy Hook parents, you asshole. The fact that you're still alive means you're a liar. It means that none of what you say is true. If they had any of the capability that you're talking about, there's only two possibilities. Either everything that Alex Jones says is 95% bullshit with the 5% truth matrix, just so that it can be at least a couple of details. It's his attachments that are fucked up, right? It is just bullshit, or it's bullshit and he works for the people that are trying to kill everybody, because there's just no reason why they'd let him live, right? It's just dumb. There's no fucking way you live and say that shit if it actually exists. Again, let me remind you that this motherfucker ate food from a buffet table at an anti-Hillary Clinton movie where they talked about her body count. Just for the record, I don't know about you, but if I ever go to a movie that's about a living person who is still in power, that is in the government, is in the State Department even, where I'm talking about how they have a body count, and I really believe it. That's the key. I have to really believe it. If I really believe that shit, I'm not touching any of that shit. I'm not eating fucking canapes and fucking pickles off the table. Are you out of your fucking mind? You don't think you learn nothing from how the Russians do it? Just spritz, 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 and you're all dead. Fuck, watch Wild Wild Country, the documentary on Netflix about that cult. They poisoned everybody. Oh, you think you're talking about sexual body count? Oh, no. Different water goddess. Very different.
Even if I
believed half of what you're saying, and I don't because I'm rich and I don't want to, and also I've known you for a long time, and sitting in a room, I can smell your breath, so that automatically knocks you down a peg with me.
So there was a lot in there.
Yes, a lot of bullshit.
And I just want to back up to the part where he talks about the future is not human.
Okay. I know I'm going to get some pushback on this. But technically speaking, if humans adapt by wearing shoes and getting pacemakers and getting glasses and modifying ourselves, or getting, if amputees get robotic arms, they are not less human. So any of the additional stuff that would make you impervious to disease, or make your, cure genetic diseases, or modify stuff, or give you a extended life, or add a fucking, put your iPhone in your eye, any of that shit, yeah, any of that shit, you're still human. It's humans. The idea that used to be, they call it humans plus, but transhuman scares these dipshits, because trans anything scares the shit out of them. Fucking hell. But anyways, tell us about your big fear about the cyborg future.
That it's transhumanist.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Transhuman.
So does
Yeah,
that mean
right.
at some point that we can all identify as a robot?
Oh, for fuck's sake! This is just he's doing it again. It's just a ham-handed transition into one of Kurt's jokes. We can all identify as robots. These jokes are so bad. I think Greg Gutfeld would pass on them.
Humanist.
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Petrazi20. Thank you for the super chats. Appreciate it.
Right.
Transhuman.
So does that mean at some point that we can all identify as a robot? I'm going to be LGBT, MIT, IBM. Is that what that means?
I take it back. I think he does need to try harder.
No, you won't be doing that. You will be part of the lower class that is not some kind of giant spider bot.
You will refer to me as an I person, or you will get kicked off Twitter. I'll tell you that. That's
It's no longer called Twitter. And I person, as in iRobot. Yeah. Mhm.
right, you analog cis motherfucker. I'm I person point two with a better camera.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's just painful. Just like, fuck, can you imagine, like, if that kind of joke rolled off the tip of your tongue in the middle of conversation, you could pass it off as being, like just following a wit wave. It doesn't even have to be that funny to be even funnier than it is because you just thought of it. But the act of writing it down and going, aha, later on, this is going to be awesome, automatically just slathers it in a giant coat of suck.
That Yuval Harari guy says this stuff. You got to watch. He really is a creepy little Igor.
That's
Schwab. Yeah.
So this guy Yuval Harari. I wish I had a picture of him.
Just on Bill Maher.
Yeah, you don't have a picture of him. You can't bring up a picture of him. You got that whole system there. You're a multimillionaire in $1 million house who calls himself a Marxist in the Hollywood Hills. And you can't know it. Nobody's there that could just pull up a picture and Yuval Harari is an author. He wrote a book called Sapiens. This is him. I wish I had a picture of him. There's a picture of him. Yep, that easy. He looks like a tech billionaire. He wrote a book called Sapiens, and it's like I know a bunch of people who it's Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind or something like that. He's what I would call a pop historian. A lot of people read his book and were like, so they could. It's one of those like books to make you feel cocktail smart. You know what I'm talking about? It's fine, whatever. I don't have anything about it. But he obviously jumps past a lot of points and draws his own conclusions, and that's totally fine. Whatever. It's not. It's like you're better off reading Guns, Germs, and Steel because that's where he gets most of his primary ideas from. But so fucking what? A bunch of people read his book and they're like, well, yeah, no, I think we're headed in this one direction because if you follow it, humans used to bang rocks together to make fire, and now we can shape a laser through a diamond lens. Fucking
no shit.
Yeah, Bill Maher, who doesn't know.
Bill Maher doesn't know.
Okay, wait, hold on. So, Yuval was just on Bill Maher's show.
So that's
Schwab, yeah.
So this guy Yuval Harari. I wish I had a picture of him.
Just on Bill Maher.
No shit.
Yeah, Bill Maher, who doesn't know.
Bill Maher doesn't know anything.
Yeah, Roseanne did great with him, by the way.
He doesn't know anything. What do you mean, Roseanne?
Yes, that's the thing. Bill Maher doesn't know anything. I don't think that's the problem with Bill Maher most of the time. It's that he knows a bunch of shit. He's just wrong about half of it, which is human. Which so you don't have to worry about him being transhuman, I don't think, right?
Dan was on his show.
Yeah.
Bill Maher doesn't
they
know.
go up random.
He goes, "Who's Klaus Schwab?" She's like, "Google it." She says to him, like,
He said, "Who's Klaus
yeah,
Schwab?"
Yeah, and she just goes, "Google it."
And he hosts a politics show and the current events.
Well, it turns out he don't know shit.
He doesn't.
Well, also, again, unless you're into this conspiracy theory, you don't give a fuck. Klaus Schwab is not the guy directing the World Economic Forum. He puts it together, but he's more like he's like the Live Nation of the World Economic Forum.
Doesn't know anything.
Wow.
I sent you the clip of him reading the casualties of Ukraine. It's like Ukraine's only lost 70,000 troops in this thing. Did you know that?
According to Bill Maher,
Their average age is 43.
By the way, Russia has lost 315,000 troops.
They only had 70,000 young men in the whole country. Like,
No, they didn't. It's a country of 44 million people.
as he tepidly asked these two like obvious like intelligence cutout fake reporters, aren't they kind of losing? And they no, we got to keep this going. Both of them answered with the same.
really,
Yeah, I sent you that clip.
I didn't.
Well, I mean, both of these guys are, again, I don't know why this dives off of Alex Jones' stuff. I guess because Kurt wants to be the next Alex Jones. These are his predictions.
Bill, I told you I had to build up the emotional resilience to watch Bill Maher.
To play it for
How do you think the rest of us feel about your show?
everyone to see.
You know what? I'll play it tomorrow for Tucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you should make that
tomorrow.
announcement.
Wow.
Yeah, tomorrow Tucker Carlson will be on the show.
Ugh. And that is when we can take a break. Hold on. Thanks very much. I had a sneeze. At least I have a sneeze button. I hit the sneeze button this time. There you go. Thanks. I like at a certain point, I'm like, you don't get to start promoting shit afterwards. Look, I enjoy the sort of mental exercise of conspiratorial thought. You know what I mean? But most of the time, it does pan out that you're talking about a series of human failures that make something happen versus a giant conspiracy to do something awful. Most of the time. Also, when another country has a plan to do something, that's not a conspiracy. That's just them planning something. A plan is something's only a conspiracy when an enemy and a friend breathe together. To conspire is to breathe together. That's what the basis of the word is. The whispering. We got to do this, and then Agenda 21, we'll call it that. But we'll do it 3 years later because they'll think it's too late. That kind of shit, right? Yeah, hit that like, by the way. I've only got a half hour left, and I've got so much stuff to cover, and I'm never going to get through any of it.